Pippa Middleton married into extraordinary wealth, extreme privacy, and a life deliberately designed to fade from public view. From the outside, it appears carefully managed, even idyllic, almost a fairy tale. But when you examine how she and her husband actually live, where they choose to reside, and the compromises that reshaped her world, a deeper question emerges. Can a marriage built more on accommodation than on shared identity truly endure? In this video, we explore why many believe Pippa Middleton's marriage may not last. Pippa did not marry into fame. She married into obscurity. At first glance, the match seemed logical. The younger sister of a future queen settling into wealth, security, and discretion. Yet the life she entered was far from glamorous in the way the public imagines. It was highly structured, insulated, and intentionally removed from attention. That single choice to retreat rather than engage lies at the heart of why people now question the marriage's long-term viability. James Matthews comes from a very specific world, old European money that never announces itself, hedge-fund wealth that values invisibility over prestige. His father founded Eden Rock Capital Management with discretion as a guiding principle, and that philosophy extends far beyond business. It dictates how the family lives, where they live, and how visible they allow themselves to be. Their primary residence in Bucklebury, Berkshire, reflects this mindset perfectly. It is a large country estate, protected by gates and land rather than paparazzi. This is not London society living. It is rural seclusion, long drives, controlled access, minimal neighbors, and virtually no chance encounters. A place designed not to participate in public life, but to disappear from it. That contrast matters because before marriage, Pippa Middleton lived very differently. She moved easily through social circles, attended public events, and maintained cultural relevance. She was photographed, discussed, and visible. After marriage, that visibility narrowed dramatically. The Matthews lifestyle is not built for public figures. It is built for families determined to remain untouched by scrutiny. Their estate is not a statement, it is a shield. Their second home reinforces this pattern. Thousands of miles away sits St. Barts in Eden Rock, a resort synonymous with ultra-high net worth privacy. This is not a celebrity playground, it is an enclave. Controlled access, private villas, and an environment where wealth vanishes without explanation. Together, these two worlds tell the same story: England for order and routine, the Caribbean for escape and insulation. Both are structured around withdrawal, not engagement. Public perception suggests luxury and ease. The reality suggests containment and control. Pippa did not gain a larger platform through marriage. She lost one. That loss was not accidental, it was structural. Even their cars reflect this ethos. No flashy vehicles, no statements. Just practical luxury SUVs designed for countryside terrain and anonymity. Everything about their movement signals avoidance rather than attention. Daily life follows the same pattern. Quiet school runs, small, closed social circles, appearances limited to family obligations, no interviews, no lifestyle branding, no effort to capitalize on royal proximity. This is where the tension begins to surface. Pippa Middleton was never an anonymous woman. She became globally recognizable overnight at a royal wedding, lived for years under constant public awareness, and then stepped into a life where visibility itself is treated as a risk. To some, that looks like maturity. To others, it looks like erasure. The Matthews family culture prioritizes control over expression, business over narrative, privacy over relevance. Pippa's transition into that world required more than social adjustment, it demanded personal recalibration. Marriage did not expand her identity, it redirected it inward. That choice fuels speculation not because it is wrong, but because it is extreme. People question longevity when a life requires near total disappearance. There are no scandals, no excesses, no public fractures. That is precisely why the doubt persists quietly rather than explosively. The marriage appears solid because it is silent, but silence can also signal constraint. From the outside, it looks like a perfect retreat. From the inside, it is a life with very few exits. Pippa moved from standing adjacent to visible power into a world where power operates invisibly. That shift altered everything: how she dresses, how she moves, where she goes, and what she relinquishes. The central question is not about infidelity or conflict. It is about compatibility, over time. Can someone who once existed in the public imagination remain fulfilled inside a life designed to avoid it entirely? That question doesn't come from gossip, it comes from observing structure. Lifestyle here is not just about money or property. It's about rhythm, decision-making, and hierarchy, about who adapts and who leads. This is where observers begin to sense strain, even without a single argument or confirmed issue. James Matthews lives by structure. Hedge fund culture rewards discipline, predictability, and emotional restraint. Risk is calculated. Exposure is managed. That mindset does not stop at work, it becomes domestic culture. Their household runs on schedules, security considerations, and purpose-driven travel. Even leisure is curated. Familiar ski resorts, predictable stays at Eden Rock, environments where privacy is guaranteed. For James, this is comfort. For Pippa, it was transformation. Before marriage, her life was fluid. She moved between identities, London social circles, charity work, athletics, and media attention she didn't control, but learned to navigate. After marriage, that flexibility narrowed. The Matthews world is deeply inward-facing. Social circles revolve around family and long-standing associates. New connections are rare. Public-facing friendships even rarer. This creates stability, but also repetition. People close to this environment describe as calm yet rigid. Days blur together. The same routines, the same expectations. This kind of life suits those already complete within it. It challenges those who once drew energy from movement and variety. Pippa's public silence is often framed as dignity, but silence is also adaptation. She did not reshape the Matthews world around her. She reshaped herself to fit it. Her absence from interviews is intentional. Narrative creates risk. Silence preserves control. Even her style evolved, less fashion-forward, more neutral. Clothing designed to be aimed rather than broadcast. The goal is not influence, it is invisibility. Practical choices replace personal expression. Shared vehicles, drivers when necessary, minimal attachment to objects that signal independence. Within this system, decisions are collective but not always equal. James brings the legacy, the infrastructure, the long-term vision. Pippa enters as a partner, but also into a fully formed structure. That imbalance does not guarantee unhappiness, but it does limit negotiation. Children intensified this dynamic. 3 in quick succession anchored Pippa firmly into domestic rhythm. Motherhood can be fulfilling, but it can also be consuming, especially in a household already defined by control and routine. Parallel lives become nearly impossible. Public appearances reflect this reality. They arrive together, they leave together. Interactions are composed and efficient. There is no visible conflict and no visible spontaneity. Some interpret this as emotional distance. Others see it as habit. But habits repeated long enough become identity. The tension is not chaos versus calm. It is expansion versus contraction. Pippa Middleton's life contracted after marriage, fewer outlets, fewer independent roles, fewer decisions that reach the public sphere. The Matthews family does not tolerate unpredictability or personal branding. Attention is risk. The public doesn't witness arguments, they witness absence. They don't see betrayal, they see withdrawal. And withdrawal is easier to question than drama. Another quiet factor deepens the speculation: James Matthews' deep attachment to legacy. His family history includes immense success and profound tragedy. That awareness reinforces caution, control, and preservation above all else. And within that framework, people continue to wonder whether a life built so carefully to avoid the world can truly sustain someone who once lived inside it. This dynamic raises questions not because it is unhealthy, but because it is uneven. Public doubt tends to surface when one partner's world contracts dramatically, while the other's remains largely unchanged. James Matthews lives much as he did before marriage, the same professional posture, the same commitment to privacy, the same carefully controlled environments. Pippa Middleton's life, by contrast, underwent a near-total transformation. That imbalance is subtle. It does not announce itself. It accumulates quietly. And in marriages defined by restraint, whispers travel farther than noise ever could. By the time observers reach this point in assessing their lifestyle, the focus is no longer scandal. It is sustainability. Can a life organized around discipline, silence, and withdrawal nourish 2 people equally over decades? That question is not accusatory, it is human. And it explains why doubt continues to orbit this marriage quietly, persistently, without ever erupting. Privacy in this case is only one layer. Their life is also defined by continuous management, multiple properties, ongoing ventures, and shared projects that demand coordination, cooperation, and alignment. This operational complexity introduces a form of pressure that remains invisible to the public. Bucklebury, Berkshire, is not simply a country retreat. The couple purchased 72 acres not just for seclusion but for long-term purpose. Over time, the estate has evolved to include glamping pods, a cafe, outdoor play spaces, and seasonal events. Each addition requires planning, staffing, and oversight. Publicly, the atmosphere appears serene. Privately, it functions as an enterprise one that requires constant attention and shared decision-making. Their ambitions extend further. Planning approval has been secured for a nursery on Buckleberry Farm, a project aligned with Pippa's interest in early childhood development. It blends community engagement with entrepreneurship and demonstrates that she is not merely adapting to James's world, but shaping it within the parameters the family prioritizes. The main Georgian house reflects the same philosophy. Renovations, including an outdoor pool and tennis court, involve lengthy approvals and careful coordination. Even leisure is regulated. Cars, estate management, and construction decisions all reinforce a lifestyle that favors order over spontaneity. What appears to be effortless luxury is, in reality, a system of ongoing responsibility. Pippa also maintains entrepreneurial involvement. The farm shop, seasonal programming, and her previous experience in event planning and publishing show active contribution to the family's ventures, all while remaining aligned with the Matthews' preference for discretion. Their Caribbean base at Eden Rock operates under the same logic, luxurious but insulated, designed for retreat and strategy rather than display. Travel, like everything else, is purposeful and tightly managed. What this reveals is subtle but essential. The Matthews household is efficient but not effortless. Every property, project, and movement requires coordination and negotiation. Publicly, the couple appears calm and unified. Privately, their life is highly organized, productive, and controlled, creating both stability and quiet tension. This is why speculation persists, not because of visible conflict, but because of pressure. Their life absorbs tension rather than releasing it. The household operates far from public chaos, yet remains governed by expectation, reputation management, and long-term planning. Resistance to disruption shapes everything from geography to visibility. Buckleberry itself is deliberate, close enough to London for access, distant enough for anonymity. It allows family life without daily scrutiny, but also removes Pippa from the social ecosystem she once navigated with ease. Place matters because proximity shapes identity. London offered variety and stimulation. Buckleberry offers consistency. For James, that consistency is grounding. For Pippa, it represents a narrowing of external input. Their days reportedly follow predictable rhythms, school logistics, planned travel windows, limited social engagements. Predictability minimizes risk, but it also minimizes surprise. Public figures often reveal strain through overexposure. If strain exists here, it would surface through absence. And absence has become noticeable. Pippa appears infrequently, usually in connection with her sister or formal family obligations. Independent social circles are absent. Public friendships outside the family framework are rare. The result is an impression, fair or not, that her identity has become primarily relational rather than individual. Comparisons intensify this perception. Catherine lives under restriction as well, but with institutional purpose. Her discipline yields visibility, influence, and symbolic power. Pippa's discipline yields privacy without authority. The contrast is subtle, but psychologically significant. Two sisters living structured lives for entirely different ends, one gaining relevance through restraint, the other fading into anonymity. This does not suggest envy. It raises questions about fulfillment. The Matthews lifestyle discourages external validation. Achievement is private. Satisfaction is internal. That philosophy functions best when both partners draw meaning from the same sources. Speculation begins when one partner's former sources of meaning quietly disappear. Wealth adds another layer of pressure. Money is omnipresent but never celebrated. Properties are functional, not expressive. Travel is efficient, not indulgent. Even Eden Rock, despite its luxury, operates as a controlled environment rather than a playground. There are no excesses to dissipate tension, no visible indulgence or rebellion. Everything remains contained. Children intensify this further. Parenting within a highly structured household leaves little room for personal exploration. Motherhood appears central to Pippa's life, but motherhood alone does not replace identity for everyone. The absence of visible personal pursuits causes projects or narratives beyond family becomes fertile ground for speculation. When growth is invisible, observers assume stagnation. Even the couple's public interactions reinforce this ambiguity. When photographed, they appear composed, efficient, and emotionally neutral. There is no performative warmth, but no visible strain either. That neutrality frustrates observers because it offers no emotional resolution. Their absence from social media compounds the effect. In a culture that equates visibility with authenticity, silence invites projection. For James, this continuity is natural. For Pippa, it represents a decisive break from her former life. Permanence deepens the tension. These properties are not temporary residences, they are long-term anchors. Roots are deep. Exiting such a structure would require disruption on every level: emotional, logistical, and reputational. When exit appears costly, speculation intensifies. This does not predict failure. It explains persistence. The Matthews lifestyle demands alignment and offers little tolerance for drift. For the marriage to endure, both partners must continually choose the same narrow path. Publicly, they present unity. Privately, they manage a life that leaves little room for deviation. That rigidity can be strength. It can also become pressure. Pippa Middleton's marriage is not scrutinized because it appears chaotic. It is scrutinized because it appears sealed. Sealed systems invite questions about what happens when personal needs evolve. The doubt is not fueled by what people see, it is fueled by what has vanished. There has been no separation, no legal filing, no public signal of collapse. That absence matters. This narrative is not built on events, but on patterns. A life engineered for permanence. Properties designed for decades, not phases. Privacy structures that resist change rather than accommodate it. James's trajectory remained intact after marriage. Pippa's altered completely. That asymmetry, not scandal, is the core of public unease. A marriage that fits one partner seamlessly while requiring the other to transform entirely invites questions about long-term fulfillment. This does not doom the marriage, but it does explain why speculation lingers. The Matthews lifestyle is optimized for stability, not reinvention. It resists expansion. And in a culture that equates growth with movement, deliberate stillness feels precarious. The marriage may endure precisely because it is sealed, or struggle because sealed systems resist adaptation. That ambiguity is what keeps the conversation alive. Pippa Middleton's marriage is not fragile in the tabloid sense. It is rigid, and rigidity is both its greatest strength and its quiet vulnerability. People are not waiting for collapse. They are waiting for elasticity. So far, the structure offers very little.